Hey, hey, it's Friday. I'm so happy it's Friday this week. Normally, being an entrepreneur, it doesn't matter what day of the week it is for me, but I'm glad.
Right?
So that's Funnel Friday, and I'm your Funnel Godmother, and I'm here to bring you some wisdom and information about that's going to give you a better funnel or let you have a better experience with your funnel. So we all know if we've built a funnel that email is really the backbone. Inside your funnel, you can have text messages and you can have notifications to yourself, reminders to make things happen. You can jump out and send somebody a greeting card. You can do a lot of things inside a funnel, and mostly a funnel has emails in it. So that's why the anti spam crackdown from Google and Yahoo has been so much in the news. It's been so much of what I've been talking about ever since October, I think, November timeframe. We started telling you about it. Well, and we mostly focused on what the service providers are doing, Google, Yahoo, and Microsoft, and how they are changing their rules and guidelines. Well, today we've got some news from ActiveCampaign and Mailchimp on how they're dealing with the new anti-spam guidelines. And actually, guidelines is not even the right word. The ultimatums that are coming from the service providers. So I'm bringing you back again by popular demand, Scott Hartley. He wrote the book on getting your emails into the inbox, and it is called Hit the Inbox. And he is the authority on this subject. And I'm so happy to have you back today, Scott. So tell us what is happening in our email world today.
Hey, Rita, glad to be back with you. Yeah, always something new that's going on in the email world. And this time it's stuff with ActiveCampaign and Mailchimp. And so they're kind of giving you a new solution, and I use that term in quotes, to the new rules that all of us have to follow that Google and Yahoo have spelled out for us in order for us to get our emails delivered. And basically, they're making it somewhat easy or kind of giving us a little bit of a shortcut. But the drawback to that is the question that I have is like, is it really a solution? Or is this something that's going to sabotage you in the long term? And so I really think that this is something that is going to sabotage the ActiveCampaign and Mailchimp users if they go down this path that they're able to. Okay.
Okay.
So you've got the choice, but it's not necessarily the right one. So basically, in a nutshell, what they're allowing is that if you have chosen to not become compliant with Google and Yahoo's new rules, mainly around authentication. All right. So for MailChimp especially, so with MailChimp, if you decide, hey, I'm not going to go get my own domain and get my own email address at my own domain, I'm going to use one of those free email addresses, then they're going to still allow you to send your emails. If you are an ActiveCampaign user and you have your own domain, but you have less than 5,000 total contacts in your ActiveCampaign account, and you still haven't authenticated your email domain, the one that you own and that you control, that's branded for your business, they're going to allow you to still be able to send emails.
So let's just say that, like, mine is ritathomasenterprises.com.
Right.
So that is a branded domain.
That's a branded domain that you own and control. You've purchased that domain and you have email addresses set up at that domain, right?
Exactly.
So ActiveCampaign, now let's say that, Rita, that you decided, I'm not going to, have somebody do the authentication for me, or it's too confusing. I don't want to take the time to try to figure it out on my own and make sure that it's done right. I'm just going to ignore the rules that Google and Yahoo have laid out. Yeah. And I'm just going to continue to send emails. Up until this point, you wouldn't be able to continue to send emails. But now ActiveCampaign and Mailchimp are giving you a workaround to allow you to be able to do that. What they're doing is that they've created a couple of domains that they own and control. So they are generic domains, and they've got all of the authentication set up so that they're compliant with the new rules. And if your domain is not compliant, they're going to allow you to send emails, but they will come from their generic domain. Okay.
So not mine not mine anymore.
Not yours anymore. They're going to come from their domain, because if it doesn't, then the mailbox providers aren't going to accept them. Now, here's the drawback. The dark secret behind these generic domains is first off, you can think, oh, this is a great solution. I don't have to invest in my business. I don't have to do all of this extra work. I can click the easy button and I can use this generic domain. Well, the problem is that it's a shared domain.
That's what I was thinking.
MailChimp has 2 of them. I don't know how many that ActiveCampaign is going to be using, but MailChimp has thousands of users. ActiveCampaign has thousands of users. And if they have 2 domains, okay, you mean you're sharing that with thousands of other people. Now, here's where the problem comes in. Anytime that you're sharing anything, you are at risk of being affected by what other people do. Now, here's a really simple way to think about this, all right? All of us have a vehicle and we drive down the highway. Most highways are at least 2 lanes, sometimes 4 lanes, all right? As soon as you go out on the highway, it's a shared road. You no longer have the safety of just driving in your own driveway.
Right.
It's only your own car, right? Once you get out on the highway, it's a shared road. You're at risk of what the other drivers are going to do. You could be doing everything perfectly. You could be following the speed limit, staying within the lines, paying attention, looking in front of you, behind you, all that stuff. And yet there's some dummy out there that's not paying attention, that's texting and driving, and bam, they slam into the rear end of your vehicle.
Well, and it's guaranteed that there are people misbehaving in their cars.
Exactly.
On the road. And I have to say, it's guaranteed there are people misbehaving in their emails.
Exactly.
As well.
So MailChimp is notorious about this, MailChimp users. ActiveCampaign, probably not so much, but there are some bad actors on ActiveCampaign. People who are uploading lists that they've bought or that they've scraped off of the internet, and they just blast out all of these unwanted emails. And that's bad behavior. And eventually...
And that's exactly what this whole thing is intended to stop.
Exactly. And so that's bad behavior. And of course, Microsoft, Google, and Yahoo, they're going to slap you for that bad behavior. Well, ActiveCampaign and MailChimp are kind of giving you, saying, well, you know what, we're going to, those of you that don't want to become compliant, we're going to give you a way to work around that. But the problem is that is going to invite bad behavior.
Well, and if you're using that same one with thousands of other people, you're locked arms with them. Whatever happens to them happens to you, right?
Exactly. So what's going to happen is if that domain gets flagged as sending out a bunch of spam email, guess what? Your emails are going to be thought of as spam. And instead of going to the inbox, they're going to go to the spam folder or the junk folder. Or they may just be completely rejected. That's the immediate consequence. So you're sharing the email marketing highway using the shared domain. So you're going to face the consequence, even though you did everything right, you've not done anything wrong. It's the behavior of the bad actors.
You're hanging out in a bad crowd.
But here's the bad thing, is that it's not just the immediate, it's the long term. So you have a reputation, okay? So your reputation is going to be linked forever to what these other senders on this domain are doing. So let's say that you've got some bad actors that are doing some bad stuff and they temporarily cause problems, and then it gets fixed and then everything's good for a while. But then later on, Google, Microsoft, and Yahoo may come back and say, you know what? The reputation of this isn't really good. We're going to shut it down. We're going to start sending those emails to junk or spam. And you may or may not even know that that's happening.
Right, because they're not going to tell you.
Mailchimp probably aren't going to clearly communicate that to you.
No,
right?
They don't have time for that. They are blocking thousands of emails every day. To give us that statistic, 34 billion emails are sent every day, right?
Yeah.
This is the latest one I know of. And 56% of those are spam. And so those providers, they don't have time to say, oh, by the way, we just marked you spam. They don't. They're just moving on down the road, taking care of their people. They're not concerned with letting you know that, by the way, now you're considered spam.
Yeah. And so, I get why ActiveCampaign and Mailchimp are kind of allowing this, because this can be a complex, it can be a technical subject. There's a lot of small businesses, especially on the Mailchimp platform, solopreneurs, maybe they're just getting started. They have a really small list of like 100 people, and they don't want to make the investment into their business to be able to send emails properly, legally. And so they're saying, okay, we're going to give you this workaround because follow the money. That's always the truth. ActiveCampaign and Mailchimp do not want to lose the monthly recurring revenue by telling people, you know what, because you're not going to comply with the law, you're not going to comply with the rules, we can't send your emails for you. So you either get compliant or you stop sending emails through our platform. They are unwilling to have that tough conversation. And so what they are doing is that they are enabling you to now get into very shifty territory that's going to cause problems long term. Yes, you can drive down the highway with an expired driver's license, with no insurance and expired license plates.
And no lights on at night.
But eventually you're going to get caught, and the punishment is going to be swift and severe. And that's exactly what's going to happen. And ActiveCampaign and Mailchimp are enabling you to do that, rather than having the serious conversation that, look, if you're in business, this is something that you have to do if you want to be able to communicate with people by email. It's as simple as that, and they're unwilling to do that. So I don't think it's a great idea. Again, it'll help you out for the short term, but it's going to cause you a lot more problems in the long term. That it's not worth it.
Now, one point of clarification, and I think you mentioned it at the beginning, but I want to say it again. The ActiveCampaign has again, with the 5,000 number, had to be 5,000, didn't it?
Yeah. So if you have a less than 5,000 contacts in your ActiveCampaign account, then they're going to allow you. Now, if you have 5,000 or 5,001 contacts, they won't let you send emails. Okay. You have to go get your own domain authenticated. But if you're a small player and you've only got a couple hundred, maybe a couple thousand contacts, then they're going to give you this, little shifty way of getting around the rules.
And it's equally bad in either platform. Like it's all the bad. Yeah. It's not a good business practice. So what we're saying is, and this went into effect yesterday, right?
Mailchimp's been around for a little while, and I think ActiveCampaign's been about for a week or so, something like that.
Okay, so it's brand new. It's in effect now, and wow, I just lost my train of thought. But here's the thing: don't let this be your new mode of operating. Don't let this be the way that you continue in the long term to send emails, because this is a very dangerous place to be.
I go back to, obviously we have our issues, and my cat's getting crazy here. But obviously, we have, the issues with the problems of doing this. But I go back to, who are you as a person? How do you operate as a person? What are your morals? What integrity do you have in your business? Because I go back to, I heard it a long time ago from T. Harv Eker, is how you do anything is how you do everything.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. if you're willing to take this shortcut and kind of do this black hat method of like, oh, I don't want to abide by the rules that the mailbox providers have set, but I can do this sneaky way around it. If you're willing to do that with your email marketing, what does that communicate about you as an individual and you as a business owner and how you conduct your business?
Yeah, I liken it to the guy on the street in a big city like New York, and he's got the trench coat on, and he's like, "Hey, you want to buy a watch?"
Right. Yeah. So I would encourage you, yes, you can get by with this, and many people may not know, but you're going to know. And it's going to have that rollover effect into, like, oh, that's how you do your business. How else do you do business? Can I trust you? Be in integrity. It's a simple thing to become compliant with the rules and to follow them. You don't need these little shortcuts and these workarounds that are eventually going to cause more problems.
Well, and then you got to keep track of all your little workarounds and shortcuts.
Exactly. It's kind of like, oh, I told a lie here. I got to remember that lie so that later on, and it's the same way with this. It's like, oh, okay, I have that workaround now. I got to remember, what's going on.
And so now let's just clarify one more thing. This applies to people who are using MailChimp and ActiveCampaign. It applies to people who are using free email addresses like Gmail, Yahoo, Outlook, those kind of email addresses, and people who have their own domain, which is not fully authenticated, correct?
Correct. Yep.
Okay. And, again, can we just review? Because some people say to me, oh, I'm good to go. My website person took care of it for me. Or my domain host took care of it for me. I'm good to go. So there's a danger in believing that as well. Is that right?
There really is. And what I've found here recently, a couple of clients that I've been working with, they forgot where they were sending some emails from. So I had a client that forgot that they were sending emails from Zendesk. That's their support ticketing system. And so I discovered by looking at their DMARC reports, by looking at monitoring, like, hey, wait a minute. You've got something that's sending out emails quite a bit that's not compliant. Are you using Zendesk? Oh, yeah, I totally forgot about that. Webinar Jam, or EverWebinar. That's I had another client that reached out to me and was like, oh, I'm sending emails from there. Oh, I'm using Kajabi and I'm sending out some emails from there. Like, you can forget. And so you may think like, oh yeah, I'm good to go. Because at one point in time, you were like, these are the two platforms that I was sending emails from. But then as you kind of get going, it's like, oh, wait a minute. I totally forgot that I do send event reminders from this, this platform. Yeah. So,
and if someone says to you, your web host, let's say your website person, oh yeah, sure, I'll take care of that for you. They're only going to probably handle the minimum of what is required from their point of view to keep their piece of the puzzle clean, right?
Yeah.
And if you get your, who's someone else that they told me had taken care of it for them? So one said their website person did it, and like your CRM, Keep is one of them. They'll give you instructions on how to handle it, but that only handles the piece that touches Keep. It doesn't handle the entire complete authentication process.
Yeah.
And all the CRMs are giving you instructions on how to authenticate what touches them.
Yeah, their platform.
Everybody.
Yeah, exactly. And, and you want to have that ongoing monitoring. That's really, really important. We're starting to see a huge uptick because it is getting more difficult for the spammers to just go out and get their own, accounts and start sending out emails. And so they're piggybacking off of people like you and I. And if we don't have our reporting set up where it's being actively monitored and you know what you're looking for, somebody could be sending emails from your domain and you don't even know it. And you're causing your reputation to take a hit.
Yeah. And well, it's just like when someone steals your credit card number, same exact thing. And of course, no one's going to tell you about it unless you're monitoring for it. And my prediction is, of course, they're going to ramp it up big time. It's going to get ballistic with people trying to steal your domain.
Yep. So those are kind of the latest updates. Again, if you're an ActiveCampaign or a Mailchimp user, you can I'm good. Nah, don't fall into that. Don't take that hook, line, and sinker. Like, do the right thing and get your own domain, get your own email address at that domain, and get it authenticated and send out emails and build your own reputation. And that way you'll avoid all kinds of problems by using a shared domain.
Now that you went through the process, get your own domain, get your email address, and start sending emails. But this piece, very important, you have to build up your reputation. If you have a list of a couple thousand people, you go out and get a new domain, you get a new email, you don't send out 2,000 emails the very first time, right?
Or 60,000. I just consulted with somebody who's having problems with getting their regular personal emails delivered. I spoke with them on Wednesday of this week, and come to find out that they opened up a new MailChimp account less than a month ago, uploaded a list of 60,000+ contacts, and emailed every single one of them all in one email. And literally their domain reputation was high, and in 4 days it went down to low. And now some of his regular personal emails are going straight to the spam folder. He tanked his domain reputation just like that.
Yeah. So when you do get your own domain and you get your new email address, start small. And I say small, like 5 emails, 10 emails in a week. Individual emails that you're sending to, and after they open them, and it takes a while to build your reputation. It takes weeks or months.
Take some time and doing regular, consistent communication. So if you don't have your own, and again, I know, Rita, you've got a lot of people in your circle that use free gmail.com addresses for their business. abccompany@gmail.com. And while that's an easy way to get started, and there's nothing wrong with that when you're kind of getting started for the first couple of months, it's an investment that's well worth it. $100 a year to buy your own domain name and get the basic Google Workspace account is less than $100 a year. If your business isn't generating $100 a year, you don't have a business, you have a hobby. Okay.
Right.
And you really need to have that professional look with having your own domain, because a lot of spammers have been using free Gmail addresses to spam people and steal their personal information. You don't want to be associated or looking like that.
No, that's exactly right. And people, it's like today, in today's age, if I can say that and date myself, but if you don't have a website, people will wonder if you're a serious business person.
Yeah.
It's just a hallmark of, if you don't have a separate business phone number that is for your business, people will, if you say, oh, this is my cell and my personal and my business, and people will go, they'll just go, because it's having these things, a business address, a bit of like where mail comes, a business website, a business phone number. You are in business, a business license.
Yeah.
You need to have those things that shows legitimacy. And so it doesn't just help you get your emails delivered. It represents you as a serious business person, someone who can be trusted and relied upon to deliver because you are in business.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right. I think we covered it. Thank you so much for being here today, Scott.
Absolutely. Appreciate it.
Always bringing so much value for my audience. And I hope your followers are getting some good information about how funnels work as well.
Yes.
So we will see you again when something new and exciting happens, and it's been happening every week or so lately. So.
Yeah, pretty much. So yeah, I'm sure we'll be connecting again soon.
All right. Take care. There we go.